All week we've been talking about renegade independence. Hey, Tom, you're here. This never happens at the beginning. Why are you here?
I
Why are
don't
you
know.
on screen? Are you checking my? Ah, there we go. All right, the introduction is always one person. I'm just messing with them. So we've been talking all week about renegade independence, and we're going to talk about some of the things we discovered this week in the Discoveries of the Week episode. All that and more coming up on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, sorry, little glitch at this end. It's just been a production nightmare this morning so far.
And you changed your intro.
I can't even hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those days. This should not be so complicated. See, I'm doing some magic here. All right, talk.
Hello? Did you
I
realize?
can't hear you at all, so I'm going to leave and come back, all right?
Okie dokie. Sounds good. Well, welcome everyone to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where we have a conversation around a topic each week. And this week's topic, as Bob shared in the intro before he had to leave, was independence. And so, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. That's
Okay.
much better.
All right. Well, I'm going to back up for half a second. It's like you changed your intro.
I did?
Not your intro, but your little...
That's because I couldn't hear it. Do.
No, that's different.
Do. That's it. That's it.
You know, I was just trying to keep some consistency. It threw me off when you added an extra do at the end.
Well, it threw me off when you were on the screen with me for the introduction.
I was checking.
I was like, uh-oh, Daddy's checking up on his children.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Antidote, as I said while Bob was away. Our daily broadcast, where each week we kind of have a conversation around a topic. And then at the end of the show, we offer our one thing, our today's Antidote. If you have some thoughts you'd like to share, or you have an antidote at the end that you'd like to share, that'd be great. The interesting thing about every Friday we share our discoveries of the week rather than our one thing. And so we'll get to that in just a few moments. If you would like to share your thoughts and ideas or your discovery of the week, please feel free to put them in the comments of your social media that you're following us on, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or...
No. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah, you got all four. Or my favorite, of course, LinkedIn Live.
Yes, LinkedIn Live. Now you're checking up on me. And we enjoy that. We know that it will help add value to our show. And it might be the one thing that someone is looking for out there to help them take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas in comments and your discovery of the week. If you are listening to the podcast and don't have anywhere to share that, you can always go to our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we have a conversation around the topic all week long, and you can join in that conversation. And on Friday today, you can go in and share your discoveries of the week, whether that's around our topic, independence, or something else that you've discovered that you think might add value to someone else, to what's real for someone else. So with that, we always kick off each show, though, with celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating the fact that I survived this week. This has been a complicated week. There's been some personal stuff going on. There's been some business stuff going on. And I have somehow pressed forward, which I'm proud of. I haven't let it slow me down. It's been one of those weeks. Hard to believe it was a 4-day week because it feels like I got packed in with about 10 days worth of fun. How about you?
So I was going to share something similar, so I'll share something different. I am going to share that found out this morning my wife, who's been officiating in the Women's Lacrosse World Championships, will be doing the bronze medal game tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Yes.
Awesome.
Did you catch that game, I believe, on ESPNU? If you'd like to watch it, if you haven't watched much women's lacrosse, or if you love women's lacrosse and you'd like to catch the game, the bronze medal game is at 9:30 on ESPNU, and the championship game is at noon. So
who plays in the bronze game? Is the U.S. in?
No, the bronze game is England and Australia. The U.S. and Canada play in the gold medal game.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Go USA.
Go officials.
Go officials. Yes.
One of the few people who cheers for the officials.
Are you going to go watch the game in person?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm supposed to.
You've got other stuff to do.
I have a lacrosse tournament so I'm trying to work that out so I can do that and then go to my event. So we'll see whether I can do that or not. All right. Nice. So now that we've shared our celebrations, we hope that if you have a celebration that you'd love to share, please do. We know it'll help put you in a positive mindset to help you move forward and get rid of all those negative thoughts that might slow you down, get you stuck. Rather, just consider them as thoughts and celebrate the actions that you take so that you can move forward. So now let's dive in. Our discoveries of the week. We talked about independence all week, which I thought was a good conversation and appropriate given that in the United States, we celebrated Independence Day on Monday. So Bob, what are your thoughts, your discoveries from this week?
So my discoveries from the week are that I really thought that renegade independence when the week started was internal. It all came from within. And I realized over the course of the week in our discussions that it's really twofold. There's independence in terms of how I look at the world, and there's independence in terms of how the world looks at me. And seeing those two perspectives, someone could look at me and say, wow, you're so independent. You don't do this, you don't do that, or you do this, or why did you do that? And understanding that wrestling match. And I'm someone who often seeks outside validation for my ideas, for my thoughts, for my actions. And so I think this week got me really thinking about what internal validation looks like in terms of how to be a renegade. I know I'm a renegade. There's no question in my mind. But there have been times when Renegade Bob has been stopped by someone saying something like, hey, you shouldn't do that, or you should do that. And I'm realizing that, go back to the founding fathers, like we talked about on Monday. I'm sure people said to them, guys, don't do this. This is bad. This could really rock the boat. Okay, I know you don't like the whole tea thing. I get it, but come on. Is that really a reason to blow up a whole country and start all over? And they pressed on. And I think that's something that I really thought about on Monday, and I really think about each day. It's like you press on. You do what you think is the thing that you're going to do that day, and then you get up the next day, and sometimes you do the same thing. Sometimes you make a course correction.
I like that. As I was considering and thinking about what we talked about a week, I actually had two thoughts that came to mind. The first is that, and it was going to, if I was going to do the introduction, it would have been my introduction, is that once we have independence, we discover all the things that it brings. We also discover all the things that we used to have in our previous role. And I think, and one is neither better or worse. They're just different. And I think that that's a helpful thing for people to realize is that, yes, as we talked about on Wednesday, there are huge benefits to having independence and being able to do things the way you want to do them. And as we discovered on Thursday, there are also significant challenges. And I think so often we see the benefits and maybe a couple of the challenges. Then once we get independence, it seems like we forget about the benefits often. And the challenges seem to be much stronger, much more impactful than we might have considered. And I'm not sure that they are. I think we just consider them more. And they slow us down more rather than just seeing it as, yeah, it's a challenge that I'll overcome. And remember not to, or then as a way is not to forget all the benefits that you have. One of the great reasons, and I think why we choose to do it, is to celebrate every day. Is it allows us to remember the benefits that we have, the good things, the things that happen in our lives that add value. And I think that's an important thing for us to remember.
And to power past those challenges. You know, as I thought this morning about what I was celebrating, I could have easily come on today and said, Tom, it's been a horrible week. I've got a lot of bad things going on and I just can't take it. Or I could say, you know what? I got through a tough week and there's a difference. And I think getting through the tough week sets me up for success going forward in a way that if I got bogged down, it wouldn't be as effective. And I know I have in the past gotten bogged down by, oh, really? I got this to worry about and this to worry about. And I'm trying very hard to just figure out what matters to me. There's a book that Gene Bourne recommended to me that I finally started reading. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving and then there's an F word at the end of that, so I won't say that. But that book really has spoken to me because it's like, you know, how many things can you really worry about? What is within your control? And I'm really trying to take that to heart. And I think as an independent renegade, it's what really, you know, what can I control? I can't control whether someone buys from me this week. I can't control what the stock market does. I can't control gas prices. Boy, I know that one. I can't control how much food costs at the grocery store. All I can do is go out and control the things I control, which is I can get up every morning, do this program, and then go in and do my job to the best of my ability. And over time, good things happen. And I think that's that renegade independence. You know, those guys signed on the dotted line and said, we're all in on this, come what may. And look, here we are, a nation some 200 years later, still growing, still changing, still shifting based on the principles they put in place, 240 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Good math.
Yeah, I was trying not to get to the math, but it's got to be close.
Well, it's interesting. What you just shared was one of the second thing. It was part of the second thing that I had been going through my head, and I was going to share that in some ways there is no such thing as independence. Is that ultimately we are all dependent on something. And then when you started talking and you used the word control, I started thinking about, well, maybe the only way we ever gain independence is when we understand how little control we have over things. And we focus on those things we can control, not all the things that we can't control. And that, to me, seems, because I wanted to believe that there was such a thing as independence. And the more I thought about it, the more we talked about it, the more I was like, we're dependent on something all the time. You know, and things influence what happens to us. You know, we have to make choices about what we're going to do based on all that's going on around us. And it all actually has significant influence over what we do. And so, you know, if I need to get gas, but the gas station's closed, I'm dependent on the gas station. If there's a low supply of gas, I'm dependent on the oil producers. You know, if I need food, I need to go to the grocery store. What if it's not open? What if the suppliers aren't able to provide it? So I think that independence is saying that, okay, that's what's real. And I can't control it, and I'm going to move forward. And I think that there's some freedom in that, especially freedom of mind, that allows us to be like, okay, this is what's happened. And I think, you know, it's a lot about the language that we choose. It was interesting, as you were describing your week, one of the words you used was fun. You said it's been fun. And I think that you sort of said that tongue in cheek. And
but
maybe,
I'd rather have gone through this week than a boring week. I mean, I've learned a lot of really important lessons this week.
Yeah. So maybe it was a great week. Maybe there's not an adjective for it. It was just a week where you learned things.
Right.
And I think some of that is, you know, I think part of the independence too is around judgment. When we can let go of judgment of the things we have done and rather just try to understand what happened and what can we learn from it, there is definitely a freedom in that allows us to continue to move forward, not as worried about the results. Of course, we want results that are going to be beneficial to us, and we don't control that. And so when we can let go of that, we're able to then move forward. And I think that's a pretty good way to gain independence.
So can I ask you a question, Tom?
Of course.
Are you setting up that control and independence are at opposite ends of the spectrum?
Not necessarily, because I think that independence allows us to control the things we can control.
Okay.
Right? I can choose. When I have independence, I can control the things that I choose to do.
When you go to work, what you do at your work,
Correct.
who your clients are, what you're selling. Yes.
Correct. And those are the only things that I can control. It's when we focus on things we can't control that I believe is when we lose independence. So I would, so I'm not sure opposite ends is how I would describe it. I think it's a fact of when you focus on the things you can control, you gain independence. When you focus on the things you can't control, you realize how dependent you are on them. And I think you lose, at least in your mind, some of that independence. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. You're blowing my mind. I see two applications in my week to it. It's fascinating. It's funny how these shows tend to apply.
Well, I think, I think there's so much of, it's part of what's real in your life. So we're sharing what's going on in our life and our thoughts and ideas and the value we believe we have. And so the more you share it, I think the more you start to feel like, well, that showed up here and that showed up here and showed up there. Interesting how that happens and how that shows us how much value we actually do have and the opportunities we have to share it.
I like it. Wow. This has been a really good week. I had my worries about this week and what we talk about, but it's been really good.
I agree. I think that I think anytime you can find some clarity around something, I think that it's a valuable discussion. And I think something like independence is, I think people think they know what it is and sometimes believe they have it. Although so often, once you think you have it, you start to lose it because you start to focus on those things you can't control. And then you become dependent once again. And I think that's the interesting thing is, at least in the professional world, dependency isn't necessarily just, do I work for someone else? And do they tell me what to do? I think it's a dependency or independence is a mindset that we have. That I think even if you work for someone, you've chosen that that's your pathway, that you can still be independent and realize that there's some challenges with that, as we discussed, and benefits. And yet you can still have the mindset that I'm not controlled by someone else. Yeah, it influences me, and there are things I can control. And I can choose that if this is not a situation that I'm happy with, that I can then move forward. I think so often people feel like they have no other options and they are stuck with this. And so they truly have lost their independence.
Can I tease next week's programming?
If you'd like, sure.
We're going to be talking about renegade dependence. Yes. So we're going to flip the coin and look at dependence, which I'm looking forward to that discussion. I have no idea how that's going to shake out, but I'm starting to realize that I can't control how it shakes out. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Now you're gaining some independence.
And now I'm free not to worry.
Well, you can try to be. I mean, the worry is one of those things that we all have. I think that's the challenge as humans. We worry because we have expectations. and we have desires. And if we don't gain those, or if we feel like those expectations and desires are what we need to move forward, there could be a lot of worry. I mean, I think that's the challenging thing of life, is so many things that even if we try our best to control, are really hard. And even if we try to let go, there are still a lot of things that we are dependent on. So I think it's a fascinating concept to consider.
So we'll be talking about renegade dependence next week. So join us starting Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be doing another episode. And in the meantime, you've got the whole weekend to go to our Facebook group, The Ring of Renegades, see what's going on there. You'll see the discoveries of the week. You'll see tomorrow accomplishments from the week, right?
Celebrations, yeah.
Celebrations. There you go. It's a great opportunity to not just share what you've got going on, but to discover what other people have going on. I really like seeing what happens there.
Yes.
It's fun to see people making progress and what's important to them. And it's not always work stuff. It can be personal stuff too, because it's all interconnected, right?
It absolutely is. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. We look forward to seeing you inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, as Bob mentioned, we'll see you we'll see you Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern time for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Go out and have a great day.
Have a great weekend too, and embrace the renegade in you. It's worth it. I promise you.
Now he's making promises. I like that.
That's it.
All right, everyone. Go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.